Good evening, everybody. This is PJ at Grace Hollow, and I have not done any gardening videos yet this year, so this will be the first tour. We've had a struggle. First of all, we moved here late, and then our last frost wasn't until like May 20th, so that got a late start, and then it rained and rained and rained. Out of 30 days, I think there was 4 or 5 days that it didn't rain, and by then the garden was so muddy we couldn't get into it. So we finally got it planted and things are growing. Let's take a look. You'll see here on this first row I had potatoes. This first section that you see, we've already harvested them. That was the red Pontiac. And I haven't weighed them yet. We harvested these yesterday. Quite a few potatoes there. I'm guessing at least 20 pounds. But I will weigh them and get back with you on that. Those were completely died off and ready to harvest. And then down here we have the white potatoes. And right now I'll just draw a blank at what species they are. They're almost ready to harvest. Not quite. Let them die off some more. And then here at the very end, I had some Yukon Gold. They didn't do the best in the world. This back side of the garden gets too much shade, as you'll notice when we get over to the turnips. But we've already harvested the Yukon Gold. I had planted 28 eyes. And we probably got 10 or 15 pounds out of it. I'll weigh them and see. On the white potatoes, I planted 60 eyes. And on the red, I planted 80 eyes. I had planted cucumbers here and they didn't come up. Just not enough sun. And then over here, I had the squash and the zucchini. The squash, I had 2 come up. They're at the back of the row, so they're not doing real well. These I planted 3 times, and I just now got some squash, yellow squash, to come up. You might be able to see the sprout there. And then we've got some more up here. I'm hoping these other 2 hills will sprout. That one's looking a little yellow. And then here we've got 2. This one the dogs run through and broke. And then that brings us into our zucchini, which did quite a bit better. Although dogs broke a few plants that I had to redo. And you'll notice on some of these, here we go, we've already got zucchini growing. Up here we've got some that's just about ready to pick. Probably tomorrow or the next day. We've got some that look pretty good. And then we have our green beans on the next row. You'll see the soaker hose where we had been watering. We've got all kinds of green beans. And I planted some lima beans in the middle there, but those didn't do well. They didn't come up. Here we have some red onions. They're coming on pretty good. And then we have the white onions. I planted garlic here, but none of them came up, so we have a empty hill. And then we've got my beets. And then we've got a few collards. I didn't have a whole lot of seeds, but I planted what I had. And then here's the turnips, and you can see just where the garden does well and where it doesn't. These are just about ready for picking. They don't have very big turnips because I've got them planted real close together, which is fine because we don't eat turnips. But we do eat turnip greens. And I planted a lot of these so that we had some, and we had some to share with the rabbits. And you can see how they just don't do well here in the back. They just dwindle down to almost nothing here. just not enough sun, so next year this back half of the garden will be used for something else. Here I transplanted some sage. This came from Kansas City, and it's not doing real well. It's still got some green leaves on it, but I'm going to have to get it moved to where it gets more sun. And then the dill's doing okay. And then here I had some cumin seeds that was given to me. I planted those. As you see, they didn't come up. And then here I planted parsley. Parsley didn't come up. And then here we have basil, and the basil's doing really well, although I see one that's dying off. But basil's doing well. Here's cilantro. It's doing really well. And I'm drawing a blank of what I planted here, whatever it was. It's not growing. Here's the oregano. This is a transplant. I had planted some oregano seeds and they never did come up. But the transplant, boy, that thing just, it's about 4 times the size as it was when I came in. And then here we have our garlic chives. This is a transplant that plants, this is the 3rd summer for that plant. And we do have new ones coming up. I planted quite a few seeds and maybe a third of them come up, but we do have more chives coming. I'm letting this go to seed, which it has already done. Here's some seeds there that's still left, and I just let them drop to the ground, hoping that they take off and do spread out some more. And then here's our okra, which needs to be weeded. But we do have okra all the way back. And then, cucumber behind the okra. I planted cucumber twice and it didn't grow, so I planted them a 3rd time, and they're finally coming up. It's awful late in the year though, but we do have some young cucumber plants. Got a few of them. Hopefully we'll get enough to make pickles. Got quite a few that go all the way back. And then our tomatoes and our peppers are kind of jumbled. I grew all my tomatoes from seed, and because it rained, they ended up getting root bound in the house because I couldn't get them out, and most of them died. Now these are some that I grew, and these are all Cherokee purple, all up and down this row. And then over here are some store-bought plants. And they're just hybrids. Better boys, better girls, pink girl. I'm not sure what all. They're marked. But we'll see how they do. And then here we have 2 Tabasco peppers. These are also store-bought. Almost all of my peppers died. What few that lived is planted up by the house. And then all the rest of these are bell peppers. And then back here has not sprouted yet. I planted some more tomato seeds back in here. We'll wait and see if they come up. And then we have a few more store-bought tomatoes here. These are still young, but they are doing better than they were. And then we have more red bell pepper. And then last but not least, out in the garden, we have a couple cantaloupe. And that is it for the main garden. I'll take you up and show you what we have by the house. Alrighty, over here we'll see a lot of turnips. We didn't plant these turnips. When we moved in, there was turnips that was already here that had wintered over, and they grew. They went to seed, and so all of these are 2nd generation turnips. We also have peppers in here, which the turnips is hiding. So I'm going to have to get out here and pick some greens. We have some cubanelles and some sweet banana peppers. We've got 5 pepper plants in there, if you can see them past the turnips. They're there. And then over here we have more turnips and more pepper plants. We've had to put wire around them because the dogs kept running through, breaking them. So we had to protect those. Lastly, for the garden, over here we have a couple pepper plants there. I can't remember what they are. And then we have one black cherry tomato plant that survived. And then a couple more pepper plants. And these all in this section have been doused with a nice coat of, you got it, rabbit manure compost. And they're doing pretty well. Got one leaning over, needs some water, but otherwise it's doing well. That's the garden for 2014 here at Grace Hollow. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Till we speak again, God bless.